My pharmacy receipt that month showed $112, one prescription, a 30-day supply, and that was with Medicare Part D. I sat in the parking lot before I drove home. I had budgeted $60 for that fill. I had to start doing the math on what else wasn't going to get paid that week. So why had nobody, in 3 years of Medicare letters and explanation of benefits notices, ever mentioned Form SSA-1020? There's no money in the cheap answer. The companies running your drug plan don't benefit when you discover a program that drops your copay to a few dollars. But the office processing your claims has never been penalized for not handing you the application. They mailed the Part D premium notice. They mailed the annual notice of change every fall. They mailed the explanation of benefits after every pharmacy visit. What they didn't mail was the SSA-1020, the application for extra help, also called the Low Income Subsidy. That program has been available since 2006. My name is Dale Corbin. I'm 68. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not from the government. I read the forms myself because I had to. This is how to check. If you need legal or financial advice, a SHIP counselor at your state's free Medicare assistance program can help with that. Anything I cover today, verify against SSA.gov or Medicare.gov before you count on it. Today I'm going to walk through the Extra Help application. Who may qualify based on the 2026 income and resource limits, the auto-enrollment shortcut if you're already on Medicaid, the Medicare Savings Programs that can qualify you for extra help without a separate form, what your state may offer on top of that, and what changes in your plan options once you're approved. All of it is checkable. Let's go through it. It was August of 2022, and I was at this kitchen table with a yellow highlighter and my Part D explanation of benefits. I had circled the monthly premium. I had circled the annual deductible. I had added up what I'd paid at the pharmacy counter since January. The number was wrong. Too high. But there was a customer service number on that statement I had never called. I found extra help 3 weeks later. My neighbor mentioned it at her kitchen table over coffee. She had qualified and her copays had dropped. She thought I already knew. I didn't. There are people in your life who may already know about these programs. The question is whether the right one comes up in conversation before another year of full-price copays goes by. The first place to look is the SSA-1020, the application for extra help. Extra Help is a federal program run by Social Security. Medicare calls it Extra Help. Social Security also uses the name Low Income Subsidy, or LIS. They are the same program. What it does is help cover the costs inside your Medicare Part D prescription drug plan. That includes the monthly premium you pay for the plan itself, the annual deductible before coverage kicks in, and the copays or coinsurance you pay at the pharmacy counter. How much it covers depends on your income and resources. This is a means-tested program, however. Whether you qualify depends on your specific financial situation, and Social Security makes that determination based on what you report on the application. The form is the SSA-1020. You can apply online at ssa.gov/extrahelp. You can call Social Security directly at 1-800-772-1213 and apply over the phone. Or you can walk into your local Social Security office in person. For 2026, Social Security updates the income and resource limits every year, so verify the current figures at ssa.gov/extrahelp before you rely on any number you hear from me or anyone else. Based on the benchmark SSA uses, which is 150% of the federal poverty level, the approximate annual income limit for a single person is around $22,590. For a married couple, around $30,660 per year. Those are 2026 estimates. Verify the exact current figures at ssa.gov. There are also resource limits. Resources means liquid assets, meaning savings accounts, checking accounts, stocks, bonds, and similar holdings. Your primary home does not count toward the limit, however, and neither does one vehicle. For 2026, the individual resource limit is approximately $16,660. For a couple, approximately $33,240. Again, verify at ssa.gov. I won't have you plan around a number that may have shifted since this was recorded. When you call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213, keep the call simple. Tell them you want to find out whether you may qualify for the Extra Help program for Medicare Part D prescription drug costs, and ask what income and resource information they need from you. That's enough to get the call moving, but have a rough sense of your monthly income and your assets before you dial. The honest limitation here? The SSA-1020 is an application. Social Security reviews what you submit and mails a determination letter, typically within a few weeks. If your income or resources are currently above the limits, you won't qualify at this time. But if your circumstances change, a drop in income, the loss of a spouse, a change in your assets, your eligibility can change too. Check again anytime your financial situation shifts. Some people who were turned down one year are approved the next. I'd look back on those 3 years and think about every dollar I paid at the pharmacy counter. That was before I knew to ask. Now you could stop with the SSA 1020 and leave it there, but you shouldn't. If you already receive Supplemental Security Income, also called SSI, or if you're enrolled in your state's Medicaid program, Social Security may have already enrolled you in Extra Help automatically. You may not have known. When this happens, SSA sends a letter. It will tell you that you have Extra Help paying for your Medicare prescription drug coverage. That letter may have arrived and been set aside with the rest of the government mail because the envelope looks like everything else they send. A neighbor of mine didn't find hers for almost a year. She had been enrolled the whole time, but she was still paying her old copays because she didn't know the coverage had changed. If you receive SSI or Medicaid and aren't sure whether you've been automatically enrolled, call 1-800-MEDICARE, which is 1-800-633-4227. Tell them you received Medicaid or SSI and you want to confirm whether you've been automatically enrolled in the Extra Help program for your Part D coverage. They can check while you're on the phone. The limitation on auto-enrollment is that the system doesn't catch everyone. If you had a gap in Medicaid coverage, or if there was any administrative error, you may have been missed. But a 5-minute phone call confirms it either way. Do not assume the enrollment happened just because you're on Medicaid. Verify it directly. But the auto-enrollment connection is only one path into Extra Help. There's a wider set of programs where qualifying for one automatically qualifies you for the other. This is where it starts to get useful. This is where the story takes a turn nobody expected. The Medicare Savings Programs. If you take one piece of information from this video, let it be this one. There are 3 Medicare Savings Programs. QMB, which stands for Qualified Medicare Beneficiary, SLMB, which stands for Specified Low Income Medicare Beneficiary, and QI, which stands for Qualifying Individual. Each has a different income limit and covers a different set of Medicare costs. But here's the connection that makes all 3 worth your time right now. If you qualify for any one of them, you are automatically deemed eligible for Extra Help. You don't need to file the SSA 1020. The link between the programs is built into the system. Qualifying for a Medicare Savings Program triggers the Extra Help determination automatically. Let me explain what each one does. QMB is the most comprehensive of the 3. It helps with your Part A premium if you have one, your Part B premium, the Part A and Part B deductibles, and the copays and coinsurance under both parts. If you're enrolled in QMB, Providers and plans are prohibited from billing you for Medicare cost sharing at the point of service. That means when you walk into a doctor's office or a hospital, your copays, coinsurance, and deductibles are covered by the program. This protection is grounded in the Social Security Act. Pay attention to this next detail because it explains everything. If a provider sends you a bill for Medicare cost sharing and you are enrolled in QMB, that bill is not a valid charge. But you have to know to dispute it. You can call 1-800-MEDICARE to report a provider who continues to send those bills after being informed of your QMB status. The protection exists in law. Many providers follow it when you invoke it, however. Many patients pay the bills for years without ever knowing the protection was there. Put another way, QMB means the cost-sharing bill shouldn't arrive. If it does arrive, you have grounds to dispute it. And if you're wondering how that's even legal, so is everyone else. The protection has been in place for years. The enforcement depends almost entirely on whether you know to use it. SLMB helps pay the Medicare Part B premium only, but the income limit for SLMB is somewhat higher than for QMB, so some people who don't meet the QMB income threshold may still qualify for SLMB. QI also covers the Part B premium and has the highest income threshold of the three, but it has a limited number of slots funded each year and is awarded on a first-come, first-served basis within each state. To apply for a Medicare Savings Program, you go to your state Medicaid office, not to Social Security. The federal government sets a floor for the income limits, but every state runs the application process differently. Some states have online applications. Some want you to call. Some require an in-person appointment. The starting point is Medicare.gov. Look for the Medicare Savings Program section, and it will route you to your state's contact. When you reach your state Medicaid office, tell them you're a Medicare beneficiary and you want to apply for a Medicare Savings Program. Ask what documents you'll need and where to submit the application. Have a rough picture of your monthly income and your current assets ready before you call. The system has the connection built in. Qualify for a Medicare Savings Program, and the extra help determination follows automatically. But the system doesn't advertise it. The honest limitation? Income and resource limits for the Medicare Savings Programs vary by state. The federal floor gives you a starting point, but your state may have expanded eligibility above that baseline. Your SHIP counselor can tell you the exact current limits for your state. SHIP is the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, a free federally funded counseling service for Medicare beneficiaries. Your state's SHIP contact is on Medicare.gov. If you stop at the SSA-1020 and never look at the Medicare Savings Programs, you may be walking past the connection that makes the extra help question automatic. If this is the first time anyone has laid these connections out in plain language for you, subscribe. There's more of this. Every program I cover has a form number and a phone number, and both of them are in the description below. All right, so here's where things get worth your time. Many states run their own prescription assistance programs on top of what Medicare covers. These are called SPAPs, which stands for State Pharmaceutical Assistance Programs. They run through the state, and they're built to fill the gaps that the federal programs leave open. What they typically help with is the out-of-pocket costs that extra help doesn't fully cover. But some state programs also help with prescription drugs that aren't on your Part D plan's approved drug list. That gap coverage matters if you have medications your current plan doesn't cover well. Some states run these programs and some don't. The states that do have programs with different eligibility rules, different income windows, and different lists of covered medications. There is no single form number I can hand you because these are state programs and each one is different. The starting point is Medicare.gov. Look under the section for Help Paying Costs and find the link for State Pharmaceutical Assistance Programs. It lists which states have programs and links to the application for each one. But your SHIP counselor can also walk you through what your state offers and whether the specific drugs you're currently paying for might qualify. When you call your SHIP counselor, tell them you want to know if your state has a pharmaceutical assistance program for Medicare beneficiaries and whether your current prescriptions might qualify. Let them lead the rest of the conversation. SHIP counselors are trained for exactly this, and the service is free. The honest limitation? If your state doesn't run a pharmaceutical assistance program, there's nothing to apply for here. But if your state has one and you haven't checked, you may have been paying out of pocket for drugs that were at least partially covered. That check is worth making before the year ends. But once Extra Help is approved, something changes in your plan options that many beneficiaries never take advantage of. And that's the last piece. When Social Security approves an Extra Help application, you receive a special enrollment period for your Medicare Part D drug plan. A special enrollment period through Extra Help means you can switch your Part D plan once per month, every month, for as long as you receive Extra Help. But you are not locked into that switching window only in the fall. You can move to a different plan at any point during the year. This matters because different Part D plans price the same medications differently. One plan might charge you $12 for a drug, but a different plan covers it for $2 or for nothing at all. The special enrollment period lets you find that cheaper plan and move to it without waiting. The tool for this is medicare.gov/plan-compare. Enter your zip code and your list of medications, and the tool gives you a side-by-side cost estimate for every Part D plan available in your area. Once you identify a plan that's better for your specific drugs, you call 1-800-MEDICARE to make the switch, or you can do it through your Medicare account online. There's one more thing worth knowing here: the benchmark plan. Each year, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services sets a benchmark premium level for each region of the country. If you have Extra Help and you enroll in a Part D plan at or below that benchmark premium, your monthly plan premium is $0. The plan comparison tool at medicare.gov/plan-compare shows which plans in your zip code are at or below the benchmark. To confirm your special enrollment period is active after your approval, call 1-800-MEDICARE and tell them you've been approved for Extra Help. Ask them to confirm your enrollment period is open and walk you through how to switch to a different Part D plan. The honest limitation. Benchmark plan availability depends on where you live. In some regions, there are several options at or below the benchmark. In others, there may be only one or two, and the plan that fits your medications best this year may not be the best fit next year if the drug list changes. Every fall, from October 15th through December 7th, review your plan options at medicare.gov/plan-compare, regardless of your Extra Help status. Let me pull this back together. 4 places to check: the SSA-1020 at ssa.gov/extrahelp, or call 1-800-772-1213. The Medicare Savings Programs, QMB, SLMB, and QI through your state Medicaid office, starting at medicare.gov. Your state's pharmaceutical assistance program, if one exists, through your SHIP counselor or the program directory at medicare.gov. And the special enrollment period and benchmark Part D plans that open once Extra Help is approved at medicare.gov/plan-compare. None of this is a trick, but none of this is guaranteed either. Every program on this list is means tested, and your eligibility depends on your specific income and resources against the current limits. These programs are underfunded because they're underused, and the companies running your Part D plan have no financial reason to point you toward the cheaper option. Before you act on anything I've covered today, check it against the official source, SSA.gov for the extra help limits and the SSA-1020, Medicare.gov for the savings programs, the SPAP directory, and the plan comparison tool. Every phone number I mentioned is in the description, along with the source links. The programs are real, the forms are checkable, and 10 minutes is all it takes to start. If this helped, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which bill is hurting you the most right now. I read every one. That's how I decide what to cover next. Take care of yourself. I'll see you at the next one.
Before you go, everything I just walked you through, the form numbers, the offices, the exact words to say on the phone, I wrote all of it down. 3 plain English guides, organized by the form. They are at dalecorbinbenefits.com or scan the code on your screen. I am not a lawyer and I am not from the government. These do not promise you anything. They show you how to check in about 10 minutes before you pay another bill you might not owe.